The Galactic Council met inside a tall, glass tower floating above the capital planet of Zyrak. Hundreds of species sat in glowing chairs, speaking in many voices, all laughing and whispering. "The humans have finally left," one insect-like ambassador clicked. "They were weak," said another, his skin made of silver plates. "Always talking about peace, no strength, no future." The hall buzzed with approval. Earth had pulled out of all alliances. All human colonies had gone. Silent, ships returned to their home systems. No trade. No answers. "They'll come back," said an older voice. "Humans love attention." It was Elder Krax, one of the oldest council members. He didn't laugh. His eyes, dark and tired, watched the screen hanging in the center of the room. At that moment, the screen flickered, a signal. Direct from Earth. Every voice in the council chamber fell silent. The message was short, cold, empty. "Goodbye. Don't follow us." The screen went black. Nothing more. No emotion, no threat. Just silence. "Is that it?" someone asked, half laughing, half nervous. "Check it again," shouted Counselor Bryn, leader of the Defense Forces. Technicians scrambled to re-establish contact. But the line was dead. So were the signals from human colonies, satellites, stations, even old trade beacons left near alien borders. All gone. "Maybe it's a system error," a voice suggested, "or a trick," another whispered. But at WSN single quotes to. One by one, ships near human borders began sending alerts. No response from Earth. No activity from human stations. Human space has gone completely dark. The silence spread like a disease. 2 days later, the Council sent a scout ship. Small, fast, and hidden. Its mission: scan Earth's system and return with data. It never came back. No distress call, no last words. Just silence. The second scout was larger, with heavy shields and more crew. Same result. Disappeared. Now, the laughter had stopped. Fear filled the tower. "They're hiding something," Bryn said, pacing the floor. "Humans don't vanish. They don't run." "But they have," said Elder Krax. "They warned us, then they left." "That's not how they work," Bryn shouted. "They always fight, always talk. They argue, protest. This is not them." "Maybe we broke them," said a quiet voice. Everyone turned to see who spoke. It was Lyra, the ambassador from a smaller system. She had once studied Earth's culture, visited human colonies. She looked pale now. "We used them," she said. "We made them build for us, fight for us, die for us. And when they needed help." No one replied. They all remembered. There had been a war, not long ago, against a dark, spreading force from beyond the stars. The humans had helped first. They had sent fleets, soldiers, food. They fought harder than anyone, lost more lives than anyone. And when the final battle came, the Council had closed the gates, left the human fleets to die. No survivors, Bryn had reported proudly that day. But now, something felt wrong. That night, another signal was found. A broken message, hidden deep in a quiet band of space. It wasn't meant to be found. It was a voice log. Human, weak, terrified. The technician played it in the council chamber. If you hear this, don't go back. Don't search for them. The stars are wrong now. Something watches. It remembers everything. They left, but they're still here. They're watching us." Then silence. The chamber froze. "What does that mean?" Someone asked. "They left," Lyra said. "But maybe not far." Bryn slammed his fist on the table. "Enough. I want a warship sent to Earth, fully armed. Let's open this mystery." "No," said Elder Krax. All eyes turned. They warned. "US, humans don't bluff. If they say don't follow, we must listen." But Bryn did not listen. 2 heavy warships were launched. Full crews, full weapons. Destination: Earth. As they crossed into old human space, signals jammed. One final message: came through. It wasn't from Earth, it wasn't from the council ships, it was a cold, mechanical voice. Judgment protocol, active. Then both ships disappeared. No sound. No debris. Just gone. Now. The council was in full panic. Star systems shut their gates. Merchants refused to fly near old human routes. Some even deleted all Earth data from their networks, hoping to be forgotten. Lyra stood alone, staring at the last map of Earth's territory. She whispered to herself, "They didn't leave us. They left this galaxy. And they took their mercy with them." In the dark corners of space, strange machines began to blink online. Not human, alien, something in between. And above the ghosted Earth, a black satellite turned slowly, its eye always watching. No one knew what it was, but its message was clear. "We offered peace, you gave us betrayal, so we took our gifts and left you your fear." The humans were gone, but their shadow remained. Forever. 3 weeks had passed since humanity vanished. The council tower, once full of laughter, now felt cold and silent. Security was tight. Eyes full of fear looked up at the dark skies. Something was wrong. Everyone knew it. Ambassador Lyra stood at the edge of the viewing deck, staring at the empty stars. She hadn't slept. She barely ate. Her thoughts were stuck on one thing: humans. She remembered visiting Earth years ago. The streets were loud. The people were kind but strong. Even after war and betrayal, they smiled. Now, they were gone. They didn't die, she whispered to herself. They chose to disappear. Behind her, Counselor Bryn stormed into the chamber. "We need answers," he barked. "Our fleets are vanishing. Communications lost. That's 5 ships in human space gone without a trace." "They warned us," Lyra said quietly. Bryn turned. "Warnings don't destroy ships. This is war." "No," said Elder Krax, entering slowly with a long cloak dragging behind him. "This is regret." Bryn frowned. "You still defend them, even now?" "I'm not defending them," Krax replied. "I'm fearing them." Later that day, a small merchant ship limped into orbit. It was damaged, blackened, nearly torn apart. The captain, a lizard-like alien named Yesk, was pulled into the emergency hall. He trembled, eyes wide, blood on his scales. "I saw it," he said. "I saw the machines. They were watching, floating." Above an old human colony, Bryn leaned forward. "What kind of machines?" Yesk shook his head. "No weapons, just towers, tall and black. They made no sound, but they remembered." "What do you mean?" Lyra asked. The alien looked at her, almost crying. "They showed us images of everything we did, every lie, every insult, every battle we made humans fight for us. They played our history back to us." The room went silent. "Then what?" Krax asked. "They let us go," Yesk whispered. "Only me. The others are gone, I think. I think they passed some test. I didn't." Bryn banged the table. "This is madness. Machines judging us? No, no more waiting. We must strike their territory. Burn everything. If they're hiding weapons, we destroy them now." Lyra stood up. "And if they're not weapons? What if this is something else? Something beyond us?" Bryn sneered. "Coward." Elder Krax shook his head. "No, she's wise." That night, something strange happened. Across 5 alien planets, old human-built tech began to activate. Not ships, not weapons. Just things humans had once gifted: solar farms, translation towers, clean water systems. They glowed. Then they melted. Not exploded, not burned. Just vanished. Gone. People ran in panic. Cities shut down power. Screens all over the galaxy, glitched. Then came the message. A single voice. Return what was stolen, or be forgotten. It wasn't angry. It wasn't loud. It was simply ... final. The council gathered in emergency session. What did we steal? Bryn shouted. Everything, said Lyra. Their time. Their lives, their knowledge, their trust. We can't give that back. Bryn growled. Elder Krax looked tired. Then we pay. A plan was made. A risky one. A secret team would travel to one of the old human colonies, Novus 3. It had been a thriving trade planet once, full of humans and aliens working side by side. Now it was silent. Dead. The mission: land, scan, and search for answers. Aboard the stealth ship Echo Star, 5 crew members flew toward the colony. The captain, Varn, was half machine, loyal to the council, but the tech officer, Mila, was different. She had grown up in human schools. She remembered Earth songs, their jokes, their dreams. As they approached Novus 3, the planet seemed lifeless. No lights, no signals, only the soft, gray clouds of a world left behind. They landed near an old human base. Everything was untouched. No dust, no decay. Like someone still lived there. Just out of sight. Inside the base, Mila found something strange. A wall full of handprints. Small, large, some marked with paint. They left this, she whispered. For us, Varn growled. It's just a wall. No, it's a message, Mila said. They're showing us they were here. They remember. Then, the screens inside the base flickered. A face appeared. Not human. Not alien. Just ... A glowing outline of a figure. It spoke. You came. Do you understand now? Mila stepped forward. No, but we want to. The figure's eyes turned red. You came not to listen. You came to take. Suddenly, alarms rang. Outside, the air changed. The ship melted slowly into the ground. Varn pulled his weapon. This is a trap. No, said Mila. This is a test. She understands, the voice said. Then it vanished. And the crew woke up on their home planet. No ship. No memory of flying back. Just the wall of handprints burned into their minds. Back in the council, Mila stood before the members. They're watching. Always. But they're not killing us. Not yet. Why? Not? Bryn asked. Because they want us to feel what they felt: ignored, used, forgotten. Bryn looked away. Lyra leaned in. Then how do we fix this? Mila hesitated, then said, maybe we can't. Elder Krax closed his eyes. Then, let the regret begin. In the weeks that followed, more human-built systems shut down. Whole sectors lost power. Ships vanished. And across the stars, black towers rose in silence, watching, waiting. The galaxy, once proud and full of noise, grew quiet. Because now, everyone was afraid. Not of war. Not of humans, but of what comes after humans leave, and what waits. In their memory, the galaxy had changed. After the humans left, silence filled their old worlds. Trade routes vanished. Warships avoided Earth space. Planets that once begged for human help now locked their skies. But something new was happening. It started with a sound, a soft hum. It came from deep space far beyond old Earth territory. The sound wasn't loud. It wasn't threatening. It was strange. Like a voice speaking from behind a wall. The council's top listening stations picked it up first. This frequency is not ours, the technician said. It's not coded, not even encrypted. It's like it's alive. Counselor Bryn listened carefully. Can we trace it? The technician shook his head. No, it's moving. Like it's jumping from star to star. Who else hears it? Bryn asked. The technician looked nervous. Everyone. The entire galaxy, every planet, every species. At the council tower, a new emergency meeting was called. Ambassador Lyra arrived early, holding a data pad full of records. It's happening everywhere, she told Elder Krax. Every species is hearing the same signal. Even in isolated systems? He asked. Yes, even the deep colonies with no human contact. Bryn slammed his hand on the table. What if it's a weapon? A virus? Something left behind by the humans to destroy us? Lyra frowned. Then why is no one dying? Krax leaned forward. Because this is not an attack. This is a message. On the planet Katrin, a remote farming world, strange things began to happen. Machines built by human engineers, long since abandoned, started to turn on. Drones hovered in the air, scanning the skies. Old communication towers blinked with blue lights. One farmer ran into the town square, shouting, "The machines are talking. I heard my name." No one believed him, but later that night, others heard it too, a voice soft and distant. "Do you remember what you did to them?" The people locked their doors. But the machines didn't move, they just watched. In space, a patrol ship named Halien's Light was flying near an empty moon once used by human scientists. Captain Reth, a tall alien with steel-gray eyes, stared at the silent world. No signals. No life, his co-pilot said. Then the hum came again, but this time it was loud. And the ship's lights flickered. Where is it coming from? Reth asked. His engineer checked the console. Everywhere. Inside the ship. Outside. It's not a signal anymore. It's a presence. Suddenly the windows darkened. A massive shape floated above the moon. No engines. No movement. Just a black, silent triangle blocking the stars. Reth stood, heart racing. "Is that a ship?" "No," the engineer whispered. "That's a grave." The council received the footage an hour later. They played it in silence. The image of the black shape stunned them. "No signs of weapons," Bryn said. "No threat." Lyra narrowed her eyes. "Maybe that's the threat. The silence." Krax said nothing. He just stared. Suddenly, the signal changed. The hum became a voice again. "You left them behind." It repeated on every screen, in every language, on every world. "You left them behind." Bryn stood. "Enough. This is psychological warfare. They want to break our minds. We must destroy these echoes. Wipe them out." Lyra shook her head. "They're not echoes. They're memories." Later that day, a council science ship sent drones to a human research station on the edge of the galaxy. It had been dead for years. But when the drones entered the station, they found something shocking. The walls were clean. The air was breathable. The lights were still working, and on the main screen, a message blinked. "You still don't understand." One of the drones approached a door marked History Lab. It opened on its own. Inside, walls were covered in videos of humans helping other species, saving colonies, building cities, protecting allies who never said thank you. A voice played in the background. "They gave you peace. You gave them silence." Suddenly, the videos changed. Battles.ba, CKSDA, the moment the council shut the gates and left the human fleet to die. The last image. A single human officer, bleeding, sending a message into the void. "Forgive them. They know not what they do." The drone's feed ended. The station went dark. Back on Zirak, the capital planet, protests broke out. People began asking questions. Why did the humans leave? Why didn't we help them? What is this signal? What did we do? Bryn ordered the military to silence the protests. But they kept growing, because the signals kept spreading, and now they were personal. Across many planets, people began receiving private messages. Old videos, old files, conversations with humans long forgotten suddenly appeared on personal devices. Some were warm. "Thank you for the meal, friend. You made me feel welcome." Others were not. "You promised help. You gave us orders. Why didn't you answer our call for help?" People wept. Some screamed. Some fell silent, because it was no longer a war of ships or power. It was a war of guilt. The council gathered one last time that week. "We can't fight this," said Lyra. "It's not a weapon, it's a mirror." Bryn looked tired now, angry but unsure. Then what do we do? He asked. Elder Crax spoke for the first time in hours. We listen. And so the galaxy grew quiet, not out of fear, but out of shame. The ghost signals continued, not to attack, but to remind. The humans were gone, but their voice, soft, cold, and honest, was everywhere. You betrayed us now. You remember. U.S. The stars blinked. The towers watched. And the signal hummed on. The signals had changed. What started as whispers, hums, and strange messages had now become something darker. Cities on the edge of the galaxy were reporting mass disappearances. No war, no sound, just empty homes and missing people. The Council was desperate. Counselor Bryn slammed his fist on the command table. We're being hunted in silence. We need to find the source. We need to stop this now. Ambassador Lyra stood across from him, her face pale but calm. You can't fight what you don't understand. Bryn pointed at the holomap showing blinking red zones. 5 systems lost this week, vanished. We need answers, not silence. Elder Crax finally spoke. There may be an answer, but it's something the Council hid long ago. Lyra turned to him. You know something, don't you? Crax nodded slowly. A project, buried, forgotten. It was called Last Light. The room fell silent. No one spoke. Even Bryn looked confused. What is Last Light? He asked. Crax looked toward the darkened Council window. It was humanity's final plan. Built long before the war. A weapon, but not a weapon of fire. Bryn's voice rose. Explain. They knew they were being used, betrayed, so they designed a system not to kill, but to erase. Not just ships, but ideas. Memories, entire histories, a quiet purge. Lyra gasped. You mean ... they could remove people from reality itself? Yes, Crax said, but they never used it. They locked it away. They trusted the galaxy. They believed we'd change. Bryn growled, and now they've changed their minds. A hidden vault deep under Council archives was opened for the first time in 80 years. Inside was a single glowing cube. No buttons. No wires, only one symbol. The ancient Earth sigil for judgment. Council scientists scanned it. But the moment they touched the surface, the room changed. Light disappeared. Screens went black, and a voice filled the air. Why do you open what you do not respect? Everyone froze. The cube glowed brighter. Project Last Light. Final warning protocol. Only authorized species, human. The lights returned. Lyra whispered. It's alive. No, said one technician. It's more than that. It's aware. Bryn stepped forward. Can we shut it down? No, said Crax. We can only listen. The cube began projecting images into the air. Not battles. Not weapons. But people. Human scientists. Soldiers, families laughing, building, helping. Others. Then, the images changed. Betrayal. Closed borders. Cut supply lines. Council members lying. Orders ignored. A voice began narrating. They asked for help. You gave orders. They gave you knowledge. You sold it. They gave their lives. You gave them silence. Bryn shouted, Stop this! But the cube did not listen. It kept speaking. This is not revenge. This is correction. Suddenly, new images appeared. Planets. Vanishing. Not with explosions, but with light. As if they were being erased from time. One planet disappeared. Then another. They failed the test. Back. In the council chamber, panic grew. These disappearances, they're not random, Lyra said. They're chosen. Judged. By what standard? Bryn asked. By humanity's memory, Crax answered. And the Last Light. But how? Is that possible? Bryn shouted. They're gone. They can't control anything. Lyra spoke softly. They don't need to control. They built it to run without them. An automatic system. A guardian. Bryn sat down, breathing heavily. So what do we do? Let it judge us? No, said Krax. We find the final beacon. The place where humanity stored its last message. The one that can stop this. A location appeared in the cube's glow. A forgotten star system. Once human. Long dead dot, but now active again. That's the origin of the judgment signals, said a scientist. It's where it all began. Bryn looked at Lyra. I won't go. I will, she said. If anyone should speak to humanity's memory, it's someone who remembers their kindness. Lyra traveled with a small crew on a silent ship, no weapons. Only hope that they reached the system after 2 days of travel. There, floating above a lifeless gray planet, was a massive structure dot, not a ship dot, not a station. Something different dot, it pulsed like a heartbeat. Black metal with glowing lines of blue dot at its center, a single chamber. Lyra entered alone dot inside. Floating in the dark was a hologram, a human dot, young, calm, eyes glowing white. You have come, Lyra swallowed. Yes, please, stop this. Why? We understand now, we regret. We want to make it right. The hologram studied her. Too late for most. Some can be spared. Then teach us, she said, please. The hologram stepped closer. This was not built to punish. It was built to protect the future. What future? She asked. One without betrayal. Then, the hologram vanished. The room grew quiet. Outside, the structure slowly began to dim. The signals across the galaxy stopped. For now. Back at the council, Bryn watched the reports come in. No more disappearances. No more messages. Only silence. Did she succeed? He asked. Elder Krax nodded. For now. But what about the weapon? Bryn asked. Is it still active? Krax turned away. Yes, watching, waiting. And across the stars, in forgotten corners of space, small beacons blinked. Last Light was still alive, not to attack, but to remember, because humanity had left something behind, a weapon made not of fire, but of truth. The galaxy had gone quiet. No more ghost signals. No more disappearances, just silence. But the silence wasn't peace. It was waiting. People across the stars stopped trusting their technology. Ships flew slower. Borders closed. The council issued no new orders. Everyone feared the next move. They knew it hadn't ended, just paused. Deep beneath the oceans of Kirith 9, a forgotten human colony once filled with life, something stirred. Machines the size of buildings rose from the ocean floor. Their bodies were black metal, shaped like towers, their surfaces smooth and cold. No weapons. No lights. Just movement. And above them, in the air, old human satellites blinked to life after 80 years of silence. On the council's watch station, alarms rang. Unidentified activity. In Sector 8, said the officer. Kirith system. Machines moving underground. Bryn leaned forward. Are they human? No, but human-built. Or something based on human code. Elder Krax appeared on the screen from his quarters. They've begun. Bryn frowned. Began. What? The next phase, Krax said. They've seen our response. Now they're waking up the rest. Bryn's voice was sharp. What do you mean, the rest? Judges, Krax whispered. All across the galaxy. Lyra returned. From the edge of the human systems after speaking to the hologram of Last Light. She didn't speak for days. But now she stood in front of the council again. There are machines everywhere, she said. Not armies. Not weapons, recorders, sentinels. They're waking up now, Bryn stood. Then we destroy them before they judge more of us. No. Lyra said firmly. If you strike first, the weapon restarts. The judgment begins again. Then what do we do? Another ambassador asked. Lyra looked tired. We wait, we hope, and maybe. We listen. In the colony of Orphan 4, a miner named Tesk was the first to see the change. He had worked near the edge of an abandoned human sector for years. Nothing ever happened. No storms, no movement. Just old broken towers in the distance. But today, the towers were glowing. He stepped closer, alone, holding his scanner. A soft hum filled the air. Then, a figure appeared, not human, not alien, a child. She floated above the ground. Her eyes glowed blue. Her skin was silver white. She spoke in perfect, calm English. "You came close. Are you afraid?" Tesk dropped his scanner. What are you?" "A message." Tesk backed away. "Am I in danger?" "That depends," she said. "Were you kind to them?" News of the child spread quickly. She appeared on different worlds, always alone, always calm. Sometimes she walked through cities. Sometimes she stood silently in old human ruins. Sometimes she appeared only to one person. She asked questions, listened, then vanished. People began calling her. The Witnessed Council researchers tried to track her, scan her, stop her. They failed. One by one, systems lit up, machines activating, black towers rising, blue lights blinking. Everywhere she went, the towers followed. Lyra watched a recording of the girl walking through a dead city. "She's not a weapon," she said. "She's the test." On a distant mining station, the child appeared before a group of alien workers. She stood still as they aimed weapons at her. "Don't come closer," shouted one guard. She said nothing. Then a screen beside her lit up, showing video recordings decades old. The guards stared as they saw their own faces, younger, shouting at human workers, laughing when humans begged for help, mocking them. One fell to his knees. "I didn't know. I didn't understand." She finally spoke. "Now you do." The tower behind her blinked, then turned off. And she vanished. In the council hall, panic returned. Bryn shouted, "She is rewriting our past. She's making the people turn against us." "No," Crack said. "She's showing them the truth." Bryn slammed his hands down. "Then why did the towers go dark on her visit? Why not destroy the planets?" Lyra answered. "Because they passed." Bryn stared. "Passed what?" "The test," she said. "Humanity's final test, mercy. On a quiet moon once used for secret research. A rebel group from a dying planet watched the child appear. They were armed, angry, ready to fight. They believed humans had cursed the galaxy. They wanted revenge. The child stood alone. "You fear your own reflection," she said. They opened fire, but the bullets passed through her like smoke. Then, their weapons melted. The towers around them flashed red. The rebels screamed. And the moon vanished. In the council chamber, the message arrived. "Trial active. Failure confirmed. Judgment complete." Bryn stared at the screen in horror. "They erased the whole moon." "No," Lyra whispered. "They erased the memory of it." "Then what are we left with?" Someone asked. Krax looked up at the stars outside the tower. "Our actions," he said, "and our regrets." People across the galaxy began to act differently. They cleaned human memorials. They restored old monuments. They began teaching human history again, not just the victories, but the betrayals. Small kindnesses returned, and the child appeared less often. Until one day, she appeared before Lyra, just once. Lyra didn't speak. She just knelt down. The girl placed a single glowing stone in her hand. "You remembered." Then she smiled and faded. The towers across the galaxy went dark. The machines fell still, and above every world, a soft message echoed in every language. Awakening complete. The memory is safe. Humanity had not returned, but their legacy had. Not in weapons, not in war, but in the awakening of a galaxy once blind to its sins. And now, no one would forget. The galaxy was changing. The towers had stopped rising. The strange child, the witness, had vanished. The judgment machine last light was silent again. But peace had not returned. Fear lived in every corner of space. No one trusted anyone. Every alliance was broken. Planets closed their borders. Systems blocked all trade. Civilizations that once shared technology now stared at each other with suspicion. Because now, everyone was waiting for the next trial, and no one knew who would be judged next. In the center of the galaxy, the Council Tower stood cracked but not fallen. Inside, a meeting was taking place, a rare one. Not just between Council members, but between old enemies. "I never thought I'd sit across from you again," growled General Threx of the Drawl Dominion, his arms crossed, eyes sharp. Ambassador Zila of the Serati Confederacy nodded slowly. "Neither did I, but here we are, begging for answers together." Bryn was there, still bitter, still angry. But even he looked worn now. "The towers haven't moved in weeks. But that doesn't mean the test is over." Lyra entered the room, her voice calm but firm. "It isn't. Humanity never built this system to end with one trial. And what are we waiting for?" asked Zila. Cracks answered from the shadows. "A second chance. Or the final judgment." A strange signal arrived that day. Not from the towers, not from human space, from a ship. Ancient, human-made, floating near the edge of the void. No pilot, no crew. But inside, a message, encrypted, old, labeled, Project Eclipse Failsafe Protocol. Bryn leaned over the console. "It's real?" "Yes," Lyra said. "It's their last key." "Their what?" She looked up at him. "Their forgiveness." The message said only one thing: "Bring what you took. Restore what was lost. One may speak for the rest." The Council stared at the message in silence. "What did we take?" Threx asked. "Everything," Cracks answered. "But we can only return what we remember." Zila narrowed her eyes. "Then who will speak for us?" Bryn looked at Lyra. "You've spoken to them before. They listened to you." But Lyra shook her head. "Not this time. We need someone pure." Threx scoffed. "What does that mean?" "It means someone untouched by power," Crack said. "Someone who never made the decision to betray humanity." In a quiet lab far from the Council Tower, researchers worked in secret. There, they had protected something very rare. Not a weapon, not data, a child. She wasn't human. Not fully. But she had been raised by human machines in a hidden sanctuary built before the collapse. No name. Just a title. The Echo. She looked 12, but her eyes were old. She didn't speak unless she had to. The machines had taught her Earth's languages, its history, its pain, and she remembered everything. The Council begged for her help. "We need you to go to the source," Lyra said gently. "We need you to speak for us." The Echo looked at her, silent. Bryn stepped forward. "Tell them we're sorry." Still, she said nothing, but then she turned and walked toward the ship waiting outside. That was her answer. They traveled to the void where no stars lived. There, in the emptiness, floated something massive. Not a planet. Not a ship. It looked like a shell, black and endless, with lights moving inside like thoughts. The core of last light. The ship slowed. No words came from the shell. No signals. But the air felt heavy. As if the entire galaxy was holding its breath. Echo stepped out alone, floating in a suit made for her small body. As she approached the structure, it opened a single path glowing with soft light. Inside, she found a room filled with light and memory. Voices echoed. "They left us. They used us. They lied. But also, we loved them. We believed in them. We tried." A shape appeared, a hologram of a human man, old and tired. "You are not one of us, and yet, you are." The Echo stood still. "I am their child," she said. "I am the memory." "Do you believe they regret?" She nodded. "Some do. Some never will. And you?" She looked up, eyes glowing. Softly, "I believe they can change." The light grew brighter. "Then speak. Let them be judged through you." Back on the ship, alarms lit up. "Something's happening," the pilot shouted. "The shell, it's glowing." Suddenly, all the towers across the galaxy came online at once. Every screen blinked. Every city paused. The voice of Lastlight echoed across space. "She has spoken. The trial begins." Panic rose. But then, nothing exploded. No one vanished. Instead, one message appeared on every world. One chance remains. Prove you remember. Build again, share again, love again, or we return. And we erase. The shell in the void closed. The echo floated back to the ship. Bryn stared at her through the glass. "What did you do?" She looked at him. And for the first time in her life, she smiled. The desperate alliance had worked not with power, but with honesty. Now, the galaxy had one final chance. Humanity was still gone, but their voice lived on, inside a child who remembered their dreams. The stars felt cold. Across the galaxy, every world had gone silent. Shuttles stopped moving. Stations powered down, even the brightest. Suns seemed dimmer. People looked to the sky and waited. Because the trial had begun, and no one knew what it meant. Bryn stood inside the council chamber, his hands shaking. "This can't be real," he whispered. "They said we had time." Lyra stared at the screens. Her face was pale, but her voice calm. "We were warned." "Prove you remember," they said. General Threx growled. "What does that even mean? How do you prove regret?" "With words." "With tears?" Cracks entered, slow and quiet. "Not with words. With action. This trial, it will test us all." "How?" Zila snapped. "With war? With fire?" "No," Cracks replied. "With truth." Far above them, the towers began to move again, but not toward cities. They moved into space, forming a perfect ring around each star system. Then a new signal arrived, not in words, not in voice, but in memory. It struck every living mind, a flash of pain, fire, silence, the memory of Earth's final day. The trial didn't begin with judgment. It began with questions. In every system, a different challenge. On the cold moon of Zaros, all technology failed. The people were forced to survive together. No tools, no weapons, only each other. On the war-torn world of Glath, two rival factions woke to find their armies fused together, literally. Skin to skin, breath to breath. They had to keep each other alive to breathe. On the proud world of Serati Prime, every citizen heard a whisper in their own voice. What did you do when they cried for help? Some screamed. Some wept. Most remembered. Lyra turned from the screen. "They're not testing our strength." Bryn nodded slowly. "They're testing our hearts." Threx slammed the table. "Then we fail. We are soldiers, not saints." Zila stood. "Then change, or we all burn." Some tried to fight. The Kreth Syndicate launched a fleet toward the towers. The ships vanished before they could fire a shot. Not destroyed, just gone. Later, a message appeared on their home world. "You chose war. You are not needed." The Kreth system went dark. No more messages came. In a mining colony on the edge of the void, something beautiful happened. A group of children orphans from different species found an old human data book. It was filled with Earth stories. Fairy tales, poems, old lullabies. The children read them out loud to the whole station. One story, a simple human tale about a bird who refused to fly away, made even the toughest miners cry. The next day, a single word appeared on their walls. Remembered. Lyra smiled as she watched the report. "They're not only testing pain," she said. "They're testing hope." Cracks nodded. "They want to see if we deserve their memory." Bryn sat down, his face tired. "And if we don't?" "They erase us," said Cracks. "Clean, quiet, forever." Then came the hardest test, the one no one expected, on the old council. Homeworld. A deep chamber opened. Inside, one human. Alive. Frozen in stasis. A soldier. Captain Elias VORN. His body perfect. His face peaceful. He had been sleeping for over 100 years. Next to him, a screen. It blinked once, then showed a question. Do you want him back? The council was silent. Zila's voice shook. This is a gift. Threx disagreed. It's a trap. Bryn asked the question no one wanted to say aloud. What happens if we say yes? Crack stared at the screen. Then we must face him. Lyra whispered, and explain why we killed his people. They voted. The result, 3 yes, 2 no. The chamber opened. Captain Elias Vorn's eyes flicked open. He stood slowly, looking around the room. His voice was calm but sharp. Report. Bryn stepped forward. You've been asleep, Captain. For a long time. Elias stared at the alien faces around him. Where are my people? Silence. Where is? More silence. Then Lyra spoke. Gone. We betrayed them. Elias closed his eyes. He didn't scream. He didn't cry. He simply asked, why am I alive? Krax answered, because your people made us face the truth. And we need someone to show us the way. Elias looked at him. Then turned to the stars and walked out. On every world, a light blinked once. The trial was ending. One final message came from Last Light. Judgment is not destruction. Judgment is remembrance. You have remembered. And then, the towers vanished. Not destroyed, simply done. Across the galaxy, hope returned. People gathered again. Old enemies sat together. Warships powered down. The stars seemed warmer. But no one forgot. They couldn't. Because they were being watched. Not by gods, but by the ghosts of Earth. And those ghosts had decided to give them one last chance. Captain Elias stood alone on a silent hill, looking up at the sky. Lyra joined him. What now? He didn't answer right away. Then he said, now you build. She smiled softly. With your help? Elias turned toward her, eyes sharp. No, he said. With your hearts. The stars were quiet again. No more signals, no more warnings, no more judgment. But the galaxy had changed, and at the center of that change stood one man, Captain Elias VORN. The last human. Elias walked through the ancient ruins of Earth's old colony on Eos 9. Nature had taken back the buildings. Vines covered steel. Wind sang through broken glass. He moved slowly, touching the walls, feeling the memories in the dust. Lyra followed behind him. This is where they lived? Yes, Elias said softly. They farmed, taught, sang. They wanted peace. She looked at the shattered monument in the center. The old human unity symbol was cracked. Did we deserve it? She asked. No, Elias said. But you were given a second chance. At the same time, the last light towers all across the stars began to melt. Not explode, not vanish, just melt into the ground like silver rain. As if they had finished their purpose. On thousands of worlds, people gathered in silence to watch. Some wept. Others bowed their heads. Everyone knew. This was it. The final message. Inside the council chamber, Crack stood before a small, glowing orb. It was the last human data core ever found. The core was warm now, alive. Elias had touched it earlier, and something inside had awakened. Threx entered. The people are asking for answers. They want to know what comes next. Cracks didn't turn. They always ask. But sometimes there is no answer. Zila joined them. There is one question that no one dares to say out loud. Threx narrowed his eyes. What question? Zila whispered. Is Elias staying? The truth was, Elias already knew. He had spent weeks visiting lost human outposts. He walked through the forests of Taravi, swam in the blue rivers of Celis Prime, stood under the red moons of Mars's last colony. Each time, he left behind a single thing, a carved stone with a symbol, an ancient earth sigil meaning, farewell, on. The final day, he stood aboard the last human ship, the Dawnfire. It had been repaired by the Council as a gift to him. Small, fast, and old Lyra stood by the hangar gate, watching him load a small black box. "What's in there?" she asked. He smiled. "Songs, books, voices, the things that made us human." She didn't know what to say. Finally she asked, "Will you ever come back?" Elias turned to her, his voice quiet but strong. "No." "Why?" He looked to the stars. "Because it's your galaxy now, not ours." Before he left, Elias sent one final message to the galaxy. It wasn't long. "To those who watched, judged, and chose to remember... Thank you. My people are gone, not in anger, not in fear. We left because we believed the stars belong to all life, not just ours. But you forgot that now. Maybe you'll remember. Goodbye." Then the Dawnfire lifted from the surface, rising through blue clouds, past quiet satellites, into the dark. Elias didn't look back. He passed the moon, cold and broken. He flew past the empty ruins of Earth, covered in storms and ash. And finally, he reached the edge of the galaxy. There, he stopped for one long moment. And then, he was gone. Across the stars, something strange happened. Wherever he had left a carved stone, a flower bloomed. Not a real one. A glowing shape of light. It appeared in gardens, deserts, water, even in airless cities. The message was clear. Humanity was gone, but their gift had stayed behind. On the rebuilt worlds, people painted human stories. On their walls, children learned old Earth songs in school. Ships were renamed Unity, Kindred, Dawnfire. No one forgot the war, but they remembered the sacrifice. They remembered the silence. They remembered the goodbye. 1 year later, Lyra stood on the same hill where Elias had once stood. The stars were quiet again, but now they felt warmer. She whispered to herself, "They're not really gone, not while we remember." And far above her, one bright star blinked once. As if someone out there had heard.